That Ice Bowl game, December 31st of '67, had a whole lot going on that I'm sure most people do know many things about, but not almost everything about.
First of all, the electric blanket worked.
It worked great.
It's just that it couldn't deal with the severe temperatures. If it had been 0 degrees, there probably would have been no problem.
Shouldn't they have taken the tarp off?
Well,
that's the story. I mean, when they left that on, the condensation is froze, and because the blanket was doing its job.
Yeah, the blanket essentially did its job, but nobody. The forecast wasn't for 13 below and 46-degree wind chills. They expected relatively mild weather, and that's what happened in '61, the first time the Packers played the championship game here. They were preparing for this frigid temperatures, and it turned out to be a pretty pleasant day, around 20 degrees and sunny, which isn't bad in Green Bay in December. So the weather surprised them, so they hadn't prepared, I don't think there'd been all the turf study that there's been done today. You didn't have groundskeepers who were making a living of it. You had volunteers who'd come out here and, might help throw hay on the field or shovel snow. So the weather caught them by surprise. The blanket worked, but it couldn't deal with the severe temperatures. Another thing I think that's a myth about that game is that the Cowboys were this great up-and-coming team. They were by then a 7-year-old expansion team, 8-year-old expansion team, and they had gotten to the NFL championship in '66. But the team the Packers feared that year was the Rams. They had the best record in the league, and the Packers were actually underdogs to the Rams the week before in what was the first Western Conference playoff after the merger agreement and the tiered playoff structure was first created. They were underdogs to the Rams going into the game in Milwaukee County Stadium, and that is the only time a Vince Lombardi team was a home underdog in a postseason game. So that was the team everybody expected to beat the Packers, not the Cowboys. Cowboys still had weaknesses. I mean, they had a cornerback that Packers took advantage of every time they played and took advantage of in the Ice Bowl. And the record shows they didn't win a Super Bowl for another 4 years. So it wasn't like they were on the verge of becoming a dynasty.
Officiating crew had to do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and that was another thing. Early in the game, or even before the game, one of the officials blew his whistle and stuck to his lip, and it started to bleed. And so the officials did not use their whistles during that game. They yelled out instructions to the players that somebody was down or whatever.